There's Brian Westfall right there. Brian, why are you backing up?
Like when they hightail it on a tractor, plowing into anything in their path just to get away from you.
But then again, Brian Westfall is fairly well known around these parts for not wanting to speak to anyone.
At least not about Amanda Jones, a young woman who claims she was carrying his baby before she suddenly vanished 11 years ago.
And she hasn't been seen or heard from since?
No, she has not.
And Westfall, the last known person to see Amanda before she disappeared, has maintained a vow of silence about the case all this time, except for an initial interview with police.
He cooperated at first by coming to the office and was interviewed by 2 detectives.
Leaving Amanda's grieving family hanging in an agonizing limbo, still not knowing what on earth happened to her daughter and her unborn child.
I heard people call Mandy or Amanda. I would look to see. Wasn't her.
And the baby, you know, that's not only one life, but there's 2 lives here. You know, where did the baby go?
Amanda was a 26-year-old divorced single mom who worked at a local bank and was well loved by everyone who knew her in the rural community of Festus, Missouri.
She loved her family, she loved life. She was just always bubbly, full of life.
And nobody has missed her more than her family, especially 14-year-old daughter Hannah, who was only 4 when Amanda went missing.
She told me I was her princess, and I said that she was her angel.
Hannah was Amanda's pride and joy.
Very devoted mother, very devoted. Her and Hannah did everything together.
She loved being a mother, and she wanted to be a mother of more than one child.
And it looked like Amanda was going to get her wish when she became pregnant with the baby she said was fathered by Brian Westfall, a local farm boy she dated very briefly after meeting him at an office Christmas party at the local civic center, where he was a volunteer.
And when Amanda found out that she was pregnant, what was her reaction?
When she told me about it, I was a little shocked. And I asked her, how do you feel? And she goes, I'm happy about it. It's a little surprising, but I'm happy. You know, I want to have another baby. I'm excited.
Amanda's family members were just as thrilled as Amanda.
It was a happy moment for us. And she was afraid to tell her dad.
Because she knew that I didn't agree with sex before marriage.
She didn't know how he would react.
And I said, well, I'll treat this one and love this one just like I did the other one. She said, you aren't mad? I said, no.
But reportedly not so excited was Brian Westfall, who already had a longtime girlfriend.
He told her that it's not his, but he would pay for her to have an abortion.
Wait, it wasn't his.
That's what he said.
But even though it's not his, he's going to pay for Amanda to have an abortion.
Exactly. That's like, why would you do that if it's not yours?
And what was Amanda's response?
No. She said, I don't believe in abortion. I'll raise this child on my own.
And Amanda's family says she began preparing for the arrival of her baby, which she had learned was a boy, and had already named him Hayden.
She had her nursery all ready. She had the baby bed set up. She had everything all laid out. It really looked good.
When Amanda was 8.5 months pregnant and the big day was fast approaching, Mom Bertha says her daughter reached out to Westfall again.
And wanted to know if he had changed his mind about having a relationship with the baby. She was going to give him one more chance. And as far as I know, he said no.
But a short time later, Amanda's family says she got a surprise Sunday morning phone call from Westfall, asking if he could meet to talk about the baby, and then go to lunch at a restaurant called, ominously, Off the Hook.
She was happy. She goes, maybe, you know, maybe he's gonna say he wants to be in his life.
She was so bubbly. Bubbly than I'd seen her in a long time.
You know, she thought, oh, you know, he's going to take responsibility for this baby. She'd come to church and she was so happy. Everybody even at church noticed how happy she was and how glowing her face was.
As planned, Amanda left church to go meet Westfall at the Civic Center at 1 p.m.
She kissed Hannah and she told her, she says, Mommy, we'll see you in a couple hours.
But Hannah would never see Mommy again. Ironically, at the same civic center where Amanda had first met Brian Westfall at an office Christmas party.
And, you know, I gave her a hug and kiss and told her I love her, and she said she'll see us in a couple hours.
Younger sister Carrie says Amanda was excited after Westfall had unexpectedly called her that Sunday morning saying he wanted to see her to discuss the baby.
Were you surprised when you heard that Brian called Amanda and wanted to set up a meeting?
Yeah, I was, because as far as I knew, he wanted nothing to do with the baby.
But Amanda had told her family she thought Westfall might have changed his mind, especially after offering to take her to lunch afterwards at a restaurant with the unfortunate name of Off the Hook.
I said, okay. I said, well, how about I go with you, just in case? She goes, no. I need to do this on my own.
It would be the last time she was ever seen alive.
A couple hours had gone by and she wasn't home. And we all kept calling her, kept calling her cell phone, kept getting voicemail.
Carrie goes to Amanda's home, but she isn't there, and the family starts getting worried.
I knew something was wrong. I just knew it.
Amanda's former sister-in-law, Rhonda Willis, had called her at 1:16 p.m., shortly after she was to have met with Westfall, and was taken aback by Amanda's response.
She answered very abruptly, and it was so abrupt that I didn't really know if I had Amanda or not. And she said, I can't talk right now. And that was really unusual for her because she never, ever had talked to me like that.
Mom Bertha calls Brian Westfall.
He says, yeah, we met, we went to lunch, and then I dropped her back off at her car at 2 o'clock.
But Bertha says Westfall calls back to admit he and Amanda didn't go to lunch like he'd said.
He says, I met with Amanda. She got upset. She wasn't hungry. I wasn't hungry. She used the bathroom, and I left her at 2 o'clock, and she was still on her phone.
He called us about 3 times after the initial phone call, and every time it was a different story.
Finally, family friends check the Civic Center parking lot and find Amanda's car with no Amanda in it.
I went into a panic, crying and screaming, and where's my daughter, what's happened to her?
Amanda's family reports her missing to police, who search the car to discover her purse and cell phone are not there.
Have they been recovered?
No, sir.
But Detective Doc Coombs of the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office is quickly convinced Amanda didn't just up and disappear of her own volition.
No, she's not going to abandon that 4-year-old daughter and her parents. No, that's totally out of character.
Brian Westfall is asked to come to the station for questioning and takes Detective Coombs by surprise when he turns up with an attorney.
To me, it's odd that a person would want to pay for a lawyer when they don't need one. If he thinks he needs a lawyer, that's fine. But to me, he's just a witness, like any other witness.
Westfall tells detectives what he had told Amanda's parents, that he had spoken with Amanda about the baby for about an hour in the Civic Center parking lot.
Did he deny that he was the baby's father?
He doubted that he was the baby's father. He questioned that.
And Westfall tells detectives that it was a civil conversation.
They really didn't decide anything or agree on anything at that time, and that's the last time he saw her.
Well, not quite. Westfall had also told detectives and Amanda's parents that he drove through the Civic Center parking lot 3 hours later at around 5 p.m. and saw Amanda still sitting in her car with a cell phone to her ear.
Why would she be sitting on her phone from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in her car?
And detectives say cell phone tracking records reveal she hadn't made or received a call since that disturbing conversation with her former sister-in-law.
There was no phone activity at that time.
No phone activity.
No, sir.
Has Brian Westfall been confronted with that inconsistency?
No, sir.
Because Detective Coombs says Westfall's attorney would not allow him to respond.
Saying that he was represented by counsel.
And there is still no evidence. After 11 long years of searching by police, hoping and praying by friends and family, and offers of large rewards.
Investigators don't know exactly what happened to Amanda, but they believe it was something terrible. Do you think she's still alive?
I think it's unlikely.
And all this time, Westfall's attorney has not allowed him to speak with any investigators, including FBI Special Agent Mike Christian, who was assigned to assist with the case when Amanda's disappearance was declared a suspected kidnapping.
Do you want to interview Brian Westfall?
Eventually, yes. Obviously, what information he has, we are interested in.
So it's something you think will happen eventually?
We will try to make it happen, yes.
For 11 years now, the family of Amanda Jones has lived with the endless daily agony of not knowing what happened to her and her unborn child.
Many times I'll just be around the house by myself and think of her and can't help but cry.
And perhaps nobody is hurting more than Amanda's daughter Hannah, who at age 14 has come to a heartbreaking conclusion.
She's accepted her as being dead.
You're a brave young girl for doing an interview. How often do you think about your mom?
All the time.
As have Amanda's other family members, as well as investigators, including FBI Special Agent Mike Christian.
Do you think she's still alive?
I think it's unlikely.
But there is one man authorities believe may be able to help them find some answers to Amanda's baffling disappearance. Brian Westfall, whom Amanda claimed was the father of the child she was carrying before she vanished.
Brian is the last known person to see Amanda. So obviously what information he has, we are interested in.
Personally, if I was with an individual who had disappeared and law enforcement contacted me, I would be at the sheriff's office with bells on to talk with them and tell them everything that I could possibly tell them.
But Westfall immediately lawyered up, and after an initial interview with police, has refused to answer any further questions for all these years.
If you're not guilty, if you didn't do anything wrong, why hide behind a lawyer for 11 years? Wouldn't you want to clear your name?
I just hope that I find out the truth before I die.
Why won't he cooperate with the police? Why won't he take a lie detector test if he says he's innocent? Why won't he do it?
So we tried to get answers for Amanda's grief-stricken family. There's Brian Westfall right there. Brian, why are you backing up? Brian!
Only to watch Westfall turn and flee on the tractor he was riding on the family farm. And his mother and father would come running to his rescue.
Amanda Jones's parents made some really serious accusations, and we're trying to give him the opportunity to respond to those accusations. We reached out to the attorney. The attorney hasn't gone back to us, so we want to get his side, of course.
Go talk to our attorney, please.
Well, no, we did. You're saying we
Well,
to reach out to the attorney won't talk. And your son just ran away in his trailer.
We are
No,
not.
he didn't
no,
run
he
away.
did not.
Oh, come on.
He is after calves. We got cows and calves back there that we're.
So tell your son to come here. Just a few minutes of his time.
No, he's only talking with his attorney.
Why? Why is he hiding behind an attorney?
He is not.
He is not hiding behind an attorney.
Clearly
but
he's
we have
hiding
had
behind an attorney.
Too many situations that we are familiar with where people got into problems without representation.
Yeah, but it's been 11 years now.
That's okay.
And he
No,
continues to
No.
hide behind and impede the investigation. We've already reached out. The attorney
Okay.
has not contacted.
There's a reason.
Well, you're saying to contact the attorney. The attorney doesn't contact us, so
Well, that's
somebody's
not-
running interference. I mean,
No.
doesn't Brian, your son, want to get his side of the story out?
Goodbye, folks.
Well, at least Mr. and Mrs. Westfall weren't afraid to face our cameras, which is more than can be said for their son.
So Brian Westfall, it's clear, doesn't want to speak to us. We've given him multiple chances, multiple opportunities to give his side of the story. Nothing. Instead, he goes and runs off in his tractor, and he has his parents run interference for him. What a guy.
Brian Westfall has never been charged in connection with Amanda's disappearance. Now her family is left suffering with no choice but to plead for answers.
I want to put this to an end. If anybody out there knows anything, please contact the local authorities and let them know. Help this family that's been grieving for too long.
And daughter Hannah has a special message for her mother, should she somehow still be alive and watching.
If you had the opportunity, what would you say to your mom today?
That I love her with all my heart. And that I'd never do anything to disappoint her or hurt her.